I don't understand. These developers don't have the right to make this anime this good every damn episode. Where's the budget? Who's in control of this? Why don't we take this studio and just have them produce every anime out there? Seriously, I'm not joking. What's up everybody and welcome to Eminenceinshadow episode 6, and we have amazing action and a lot of great dramatic takes with the usual sprinkle of comedy in there. So to quickly sum up the episode, everyone is trying to figure out where the counterfeit bills are and they all point to John Smith. So that means everybody is coming after him, and that includes Shadow Garden. We start the episode off with John Smith aka Sid just chilling out in the train, minding his own business, as he spots Delta literally trailing from across, getting ready to attack him on the orders of Alpha. He easily subdues her, but while she's sitting there taking his insults as he's impersonating to be the grand awesome spy that no one else can be, she smells that he actually is Sid and winds up jumping on him like she always does, and it's absolutely hilarious that she didn't realize that it was Sid until she smelled the bottom of his shoes. Like, wait a minute, master? Like, it was absolutely stupid. But Sid is always quick on his feet, and with realizing the fact that Delta's there and that she isn't the most intelligent person, he takes advantage of her IQ and uses the fact that she really likes him too as advantage, so that she didn't go back to Shadow Garden and report that John Smith is Sid. But more on this later on in the episode. The rest of the episode is pretty much just Sid fooling around. I mean, not much happens outside of the two main fights, where we also see Sid hang out with Yukime. I always mess that up. Oh my god, these names. Where Sid is hanging out with Yukime, and she's basically expanding her backstory and why she wants revenge so much on this person. And it gives a little bit of backstory on the characters, which is something else I really like about Eminence, and the fact that they don't just throw characters at us. They do sometimes, but for most of the time, if somebody's in a season for more than 1 or 2 scenes, they try to give backstory or a reason for them to be there. They're not just there, which is really nice. It's called character building, background building, story building. We like that type of stuff here. You know, something a lot of isekais don't have because they don't care to, because they're either focused on comedy specifically or animation. But here, Eminence manages to do both and juggle them absolutely beautifully. Moving on to the story, unfortunately, Shadow Garden doesn't know that Delta was just sent on another mission, since this is a super secret spy mission that only the best of spies, aka Sid, can accomplish, in his own words. So Shadow Garden starts mourning, and Alpha actually becomes furious at the fact that she believes that Delta has been killed in action by John Smith aka Sid. While not knowing this, she actually charges out herself to take care of John Smith, and while fighting him, she figures out and realizes that with his set style and his magic abilities that this is actually Sid instead. This is pretty world breaking for her, since most of the people in Shadow Garden literally live their entire existences for Sid. So to basically see the person who built them up to be who they are portray them is something they can't even bear. And it seems like even Alpha is ready to drop Shadow Garden at the drop of a dime and join him, but the simple fact that Sid won't share what he's doing and is doing it on his own is too much for her to bear. They break into a fight, and this is the first time in the entire series we see anybody draw blood from Sid while he's not nerfed. Sid was injured before by the hero and almost killed if he didn't move fast enough or didn't move the way he wanted to. But this time around, he has no nerfs, and Alpha's actually managing to draw blood, which makes sense because she is second in command after him. But it's absolutely awesome to see that. Well, Sid's not immortal, but up until this point, he's been one-shotting everyone and everything, so I really appreciated that this time around it was a change of pace and it wasn't like that. And with that change of pace, we can stop the memes, and we all know that Shadow is no longer omnipotent and that he can be beat by other anime characters out there. I know you guys were joking on the poll that I put out there, which is why I actually love this community and the fact that we all just bask in Sid's ridiculousness and meme on the fact that he just does what he wants whenever, and his power scaling makes no sense. But in all seriousness, there's just no way Sid is hanging with most of the anime characters out there. He's extremely powerful, sure, but to a point. If Alpha's hanging with him, I don't see him going too much farther with a lot of characters out there. But back to the anime, Sid does not want to reveal at all what he's doing to Alpha, and they have a fight for a few scenes, and he still no diffs her. Even though she draws blood, you can tell he's holding back significantly, because again, that's why he's using the wires and the new magic technique he's developed, because he doesn't want to hurt them. He just wants to move them out of the way, so that once he resets the currency and they understand the situation at hand, they can continue under him and then take over from there. He's dramatic. He wanted to try something new because being Shadow is just too boring. Nothing's more boring than playing a video game from scratch and just one-shotting everybody because you're over-leveled, aka Cid at this point, and then Isekai since that's how he views it. So why not play Batman? Why not sneak around for a little bit? Take out enemies, be the bad guy, you know what I mean? Be the caped crusader in the dark without even your own organization knowing what's going on. And to be honest, I think it sounds a lot more interesting than just being Shadow 2. And I can't wait to see what other versions of himself that he creates in order to keep himself entertained and keep the story going. I think that's another fond reason for why Eminence's Shadow won't get old anytime soon, because if Cid gets bored, he can literally just create another persona for himself and perform just as well. And seeing that aspect play out with the different members of Shadow Garden, the jokes, the timing, the scenery, I just can't wait to see what comes up next in these next seasons. But back into the season and the episode, I absolutely loved this episode. The action was breathtaking. The sound effects are 10 out of 10 as always. We haven't had an atomic in a little bit, but I sure am waiting for it. But to see Alpha versus Cid, something that's been talked about in the community for a long time since it was made in a manga a very long time ago, and to finally see it on screen, I think it looks really good. Alpha's most likely going to try again, and it's probably going to happen really soon. A lot of you guys pointed out that in the end of the episode there's usually like a cutscene or shows what's coming up next, but to be quite honest, I don't watch those because I don't want to spoil myself. I like the anticipation of not knowing what's going to happen at all, not even in the previews, because this is probably one of my most favorite animes of this season, like across everything else, so the anticipation is absolutely killing me. In the future, maybe I'll start covering the manga, but I'm really just looking forward to doing a general season 2 review over episode by episode basis, just because that's my preference over the episode by episode basis. But what do you guys think about me doing a manga review? I am thinking about possibly reading it and maybe doing a side-by-side comparison, but how do you guys feel about that type of Eminence Shadow content? Let me know down below. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. As always, this episode has been
Atomic.